I'm Danny Thompson. I'm born and raised in London, UK. My parents are Jamaican, came over here in the early 60s. Um, yeah, so I'm London born and bred. I've been blessed in my life that I've had the opportunity to travel. So I've traveled to the Caribbean, I've traveled to a few African countries. Um, I started life as a young man as an artist. I trained as a musician. I also went to what we have here, the National Film and Television School, where I trained. I did screenwriting and directing. I've also worked in educational theatre. So those are my three strands in terms of my artistry and my creativity. And I've always had a desire to know more of my history. I remember as a 17, I think I was about 17 years old. I'm in my 50s now. So I was 17 years old, myself and a friend reading autobiography of Malcolm X. And that kind of set us off. It was like, we want to be Malcolm. We want to be Malcolm.
That's lovely.
And one of the things that inspired us was the transformation he went through and how that transformation was facilitated by reading. I don't know if you know the story of Malcolm. He was in a particular prison, and that prison, just by chance, had a very extensive library. Somebody had donated hundreds and hundreds of books to the prison library. And that person who donated them was a historian. So he worked in the prison library and he got exposed to this literature, and he read and he read and he read. He also underwent a spiritual transformation, which is where he came into contact with Nation of Islam, and he adopted that faith. So that inspired me in terms of reading. I mean, I've always been a keen reader, but I started to read on my history. And again, I'm talking about kind of pre-internet days. You know, people forget that there was a time when there was no internet. So you had to, and if you wanted a book, you had to come out your house, get on your transport, and go to the bookshop. Go to the bookshop and get it. In hindsight, that was actually a valuable experience because it made it an event. Yes, going to a bookshop. My Saturday afternoons was I would go to the record shop and get all the new songs, the new tunes that were out, and go through the record sleeves. Because again, this was the days of vinyl. Yeah, no downloads or CDs. So I'd go to the record shop, and then from the record shop, I'd get on the train and go to the bookshop. So usually I'd come home with a brand new record and a brand new book. And so over the last 15, 20 years, I studied with I've studied with a few different people, all kind of community education based. As in, it's not a state college or university. This is just community workshops and education programs take place in community centers run by Black people. And I studied first with a man named Dr. Femi Biko, who's a great scholar and teacher. And he actually set up one of the first, what we call Black Studies courses. This would have been back in 1999. I studied with Dr. Femi Biko for 2 years. And that just opened my mind. I realized that my perception of what I thought African history was, my perception was this, and African history is that. You understand? So I learned that from Dr. Femi. And then I started studying under a man named Mr. Robin Walker, who he's also known as the Black History Man. And again, he's a teacher, an author, publisher, great mind. And so I started studying with him about 13, 14 years ago. And then from a student, I became a colleague. And he's kind of been a bit of a mentor to me. So I became a colleague. So now I learned to teach the subject. So I do classes for adults, and during that period, I created an educational DVD, which is called Everyday Life in Early West African Empire, which tells the stories of ancient Ghana, Mali Empire, and then the Songhai Empire. And it kind of connects the three as a continuum, you understand? So that was a DVD with where I directed it, I did the music and everything. And it's Robin Walker delivering presentations on the subject, and I added imagery and music. And on the DVD, there's two DVDs. One is the presentation. The other are lesson plans and other information. So it was designed to be used by young people in schools. That's the point. So I did that. 2018, I published my own book, my first time as a writer and self-publisher, which is on the wall behind me. It's called The African Literary Heritage, which is a history book and activities book. So
and
it
of course,
gives you a history.
you're going to touch a little bit about this
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So just to say that as I learned more, I started to develop my own program and kind of identify my specific interests. My specific interests. And just this last year, 2021, I started in 2020, finished 2021. I did my master's degree in African history and history of the African diaspora. So, which I'm kind of quite pleased with. I did that at Chichester University in England. And that was under the guidance of Professor Hakeem Addy, who again is a great scholar, great educator. And really helped me through the program, because I don't have many state qualifications. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't. I didn't leave school with lots of exams and what have you. I have more music qualifications than I do in other areas, because I trained as a musician and as a music teacher. So I could say I've always been an artist working in different genres, although music has been a constant for me. I can't live without my music.
I'm going to ask you to sing for us just now, if you